So I've talked to you about some of your videos and your choreography work in the past, but one I've never talked to you about is Opposites Attract. And I want to talk to you about that because this month marks the 30th anniversary of it going to #1. And it was such an iconic video. And I actually found out just now that you actually, ironically, are allergic to cats.
Ironically, yes.
Aw.
But I love him.
But not to MC Scat Cat.
Well, no, but he gets on my nerves.
Well, tell me a
After all
little
these
bit
years.
about the idea, because it was like, I know you have such a fondness for like the Gene Kelly era of movies, and it had that vibe to it.
Yes, well, because I always go back to my very first inspiration that allowed me to know this is my calling is when I was 4 years old. And my family sat down and watched an MGM musical called Singing in the Rain, and I was introduced to Gene Kelly at that tender age. And I was mesmerized. My parents told me that I walked up to the TV set and I said, "This is my daddy." And my father said, "No, I'm your father. That could be your TV, Dad." And I kissed the TV.
Aww.
And I said, and I stood right in front of the TV and I kept moving, dancing around. And that just led me on a path that I never looked back.
So when this when this video came out, I was doing a little research about it. Is it true that the live action Scat Cat was Boogaloo Shrimp, like from Breakin' and Breakin' 2?
Yes, Boogaloo Shrimp was the actual body double for Scat Cat.
Wow.
Yes, for a lot of the scenes that sets up his personality. Then I had another dancer named Bill Bowl who came in and did the tap dancing and more of the technical dancing. Yeah, but Boogaloo Shrimp was Scat Cat.
So is there a live action version of you and Boogaloo Shrimp doing this routine?
There actually is a live action rehearsal with him as Scat Cat and me, and also with Bill Bowl and me. So, and back then it was, there was no motion capture. Everything was painstaking, artists painting cell by cell.
Mm-hmm.
So, nowadays it could be in real time, but for this it was like epic, like extensive work to put this character together. But I did it because, for one reason only, is that because of my music career, I wanted to be able to give a gift to Gene Kelly for all the gifts he'd given me of inspiration. So that's why I went into the record label and I said, "Look, I know I have 6 singles out, and it was groundbreaking. Then I was the first female artist to have 4 consecutive #1s, 6 singles and that were in the top 5, top 10. And then I just said I want to do a long form video. And they said no.
They said no.
Because they thought initially that I was asking for another single. And they said you're already oversaturated at radio. We don't want people to hate listening to you. And I said, well, not as a single, but just so I could give a gift to Gene Kelly. And they said, maybe on the next album you can do that. And I said, but I've got Opposites Attract that lent itself to a duet. I had the whole idea of what I wanted to do. So at the end of the day, they agreed to let me do the video. And then the Virgin Records loved the outcome, and they released it as a 7th single, and that went on to sell almost 8 million more records for me.
How does one choreograph for, I know you had live action people, but how does one choreograph for a cartoon and envision how that final product's going to look?
Because it was storytelling, so we knew, and I worked with these talented directors, husband and wife, Candace Reckinger and Michael Patterson. They were teachers of animation, I believe at CalArts. I may be wrong, but I think that's where they were at. And they got a whole bunch of animators from Warner Brothers, Disney, Hanna-Barbera at the time, like all to do moonlighting and work on my video. And for me, it was like we were working out how are we going to storyboard this, and then we're going to have to act like, okay, you're choking Scat Cat, but there's nobody to choke, so you're going to have to, as I'm laying down, lift my torso, like suck in that core and start, fun things like that, fake pulling out cigarettes from nothing. And what happens is we did all of my shots, and then the animators came in and would lay down layer by layer. It took a long time.
I think it's the same animators as Take On Me by Aha. There's a connection there.
The husband and wife, Candace and Michael directed Aha's video.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
they were amazing, and it was a groundbreaking video, and it was right around the time that Roger Rabbit had come out, so it was just wonderful timing.
I assume you said it was a gift for Gene Kelly, so I assume you got to present it to him. What was his reaction to it? Did you tell him all this?
Well, I didn't even speak to him. I found out who his agent was, and I delivered it to his agency, and 2 days later, I got a phone call from Gene Kelly himself and asking if I'd like to come over and meet him. And I was dying. And I remember it was the dead of summer. It was like 100 degrees. He lived in Beverly Hills. I arrived at his house almost 45 to an hour early. And I kept driving around the block. And finally, I just pulled over, and I was waiting for it to become the time of the meeting. And I heard tapping on my car, and it was him going, "Are you going to park and come in?" Because I kept driving around in circles on Rodeo Drive. But the second I met him, it was first I was a nervous wreck. I mean, I was meeting my idol, a man I looked up to and molded my whole life after from the time I was 4 years old. So meeting him was incredible. And as soon as we got past the awkwardness of me being so nervous, it was as if we had known each other forever. And we were like two dancing souls that were just talking about careers, and me asking him, because he was so revolutionary in how he saw through the camera lens and how he would choreograph. And I was asking him questions, he's asking questions on choices I made, and it was like seamless. It was such an amazing first meeting. And I said, all I've ever wanted to do is work with you. And I said, I just did a commercial for Diet Coke with Elton John, and it was kind of like replacing some of the legendary performers like Satchmo and Cary Grant. And I said, Groucho Marx. Like, who knows? Maybe I'll be able to one day dance with you in a commercial for Coca-Cola. And later on that evening, I remember him reaching out to me saying, "Are you a Wiccan?" And I had never heard the term Wiccan before. And so I'm going, "Wiccan? Witch? No, I'm not." And he said, "I got a phone call from an ad agency that's wanting to see if I'll sign off on my rights to let you dance with me." And it was incredible. It was Anchors Away.
Oh, wow.
They removed Frank Sinatra and plopped me in. He coached me. So I would go over to his home, and he'd be at the piano with a stick going, "All right, Abdul, on the count 3, between 3 and 4. So on the and count, Frank Sinatra, looks to the left at me, and we wink. And so we go, "Try it, 1, 2, 3, no, again. It was incredible.
Wow.
I was literally mentored and taught by him.
Your 4-year-old self must have been freaking out.
I just remember that I was so giddy, and I kept pinching myself, and I just couldn't believe that I was able to give a gift of gratitude and receive the biggest gift back.
What an amazing moment. There's other videos I want to talk to you and other things I want to talk about, but just a couple more Scat Cat questions. Who was the rapper, this Derek Stevens guy? Who was Scat Cat?
Derek Delight sang, and Romney is his name.
Okay.
He was the rapper in it.
Really?
So, and he went on to he's having amazing success now.
Wow.
But from the humble days of being Scat Cat.
But didn't he have his own album? There was another video
Yes.
you did with him. He tried to launch a solo career without you. He learned his lesson.
He thought he could do it on his own, and I was all behind him, and he didn't want me to help in any way. But Derek Delight, the actual singing and rapping guy, also he did his own album. Yeah.
Wow, very cool. The other video I want to make sure we get to talk about, because Keanu Reeves is as hot as ever, maybe even hotter, and we got the Bill and Ted movie coming out, all that, is Rush Rush.
Yeah.
He was at absolutely his peak of fame at the time. To get Keanu Reeves to, coming out of all of, Bill and Ted and Dangerous Liaisons and all this stuff, to be in your video was quite a coup. It's quite an A-list casting.
I went for the gold. I had such a crush on him. He was just beautiful, and because I wanted to do a remake of Rebel Without a Cause, it just seemed perfect to be cast as the James Dean character, and it was really fun working with him.
How did you approach him? I assume he just
I
readily
didn't reach
submitted.
out to him myself. Other people did, but yeah, it was incredible. The cutest thing was I was really nervous to meet him on the first day of rehearsals and shooting, but I figured I should go knock on his trailer and introduce myself. Well, his door was slightly ajar, and so I was knocking and nothing happened, and then so I kind of pushed the door a little bit. He had headphones on. He was air guitaring in his underwear.
In his underwear?
And I just went, oh, okay.
Boxers or briefs?
Boxers. Yeah.
Wow, I'm kind of jealous of
That
that
was
story.
Yeah.
As is the world.
As is the world. Yeah.
You recreated that video. A lot of the scenes in that video were Rebel Without a Cause scenes, like literal recreations, like shot-for-shot recreations. Can you tell me a little bit about the process there, the storyboarding there?
I worked with an incredible director named Stefan Wernitzer. He was this Austrian young director, and he's like meticulous, like historian, like kind of like Oliver Stone. When I work with Oliver Stone, trying to recreate image by image, and it was really cool.
Any other fun stories besides the underwear story of you and Keanu on the set together? You had a makeout scene.
I had a makeout scene, and we both stuck Altoids in our mouths to make sure. How awkward. Yeah.
Like right before the scene, you popped some mints?
Yeah.
Was he a good kisser?
I don't remember anything. It was like an out-of-body experience. I was so nervous.
Well, there was a rumor at the time, I think, that you dated.
No, just because I appear with
I
someone
know.
doesn't mean we date.
I'm not saying.
Like
but
I
there was
didn't
a
date
rumor.
Scat Cat. Certainly didn't date Simon Cowell. Okay.
I probably would rather date
Scat Cat.
than Simon Cowell. Are you and Keanu still in touch or anything?
I have not seen Keanu in years. I love that he's having a total renaissance with his career. It's pretty awesome to see.
Absolutely. Since you mentioned Simon Cowell, you were on Kelly Clarkson's talk show a few months ago with Simon and Justin Guarini and Kelly and Randy. It was a season 1 OG reunion, and that has whetted the public's appetite to see some kind of reunion again. I know there was a little bit of one on the Fox finale of American Idol when we thought American Idol was going away. But is there any chance of you guys doing something together?
Simon says he has something up his sleeve. And so, Randy and I say, of course we'll listen to what you have to say. But he's been so busy with X Factor UK, AGT All Stars. So, yeah, I mean, we stay in touch. Both Randy and I do, and Ryan.
Oh yeah, was Ryan part of that reunion as well?
Remotely.
He
And which
Skyped
we
in.
took advantage of to just tease him and not let him say a word.
I don't know if you want to talk about this, but I've always been, because we're talking about films and stuff like that. What is the origin of that junior high movie? Because you were young. You were actually, I think, might have actually been in junior high.
I was 12 years old.
In that? Was that your first acting role?
Yeah, it was.
So it was from that to Keanu Reeves co-star.
Yeah.
That's a big leap.
It was such a cool thing because I just remember in junior high they were having auditions for this UCLA student film, and I got picked to be part of this little musical, and it was such a great experience. It was my first time in a recording studio, and Julius Wechter was the music guy, and he had the Baja Marimba band. It was a big deal, and his son David and his friend Michael, they were young student directors at UCLA, and then they ended up working at big Disney and everything. So, yeah, all those things creep up when you have a career, and it's like
All of a sudden, in all the Where Are They Now specials,
Yeah,
I remember it'd be like, we're gonna have
Oh
a
my
party.
God.
I've been looking for this. Is this movie in print? Because I see clips of it on YouTube.
I'll get it for you. I have
I want to
it.
watch it. I want a viewing party.
I'll send it to you. Oh my God, yeah.
Wow, very cool.
There was a song in it called the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. too.
What?
The Itty Bitty Titty Committee.
Did you sing that one?
No, because I had titties.
Wow. And did this movie get theatrically released, or was it just a like?
It did have a short little run. It was, and because they went on to have careers, that movie kept being brought up.
Wow. Who else was in it? Was there anyone else of note besides, like, who went on to be famous like yourself?
There were some older actors that had already had, a career in television, but there was a young comedian named Carol Rosenthal that ended up being on Mad TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And she played a student as well?
Yeah, she was part of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. She's wonderfully talented.
Well, you still look like you're in junior high. You haven't aged much since the days of Scat Cat and Keanu Reeves, and I know you also want to talk about this In Mode cosmetic.
Yeah,
Tell me a little bit about what it is.
I'm
You look
the
great.
ambassador of it. Well, let me start. I'm the ambassador of In Mode.
Okay.
But how In Mode came about in my life was, as a woman and trying to age gracefully, I'm thinking, well, there's all these laser treatments, and I haven't tried one other than I had one of those Fraxel IPL, whatever, those little peels done. And it's like a lot of women here in this industry, they don't talk about
Yeah.
until now, thank God for the Kardashians moving the needle and showing, laser procedures on television and actually educating women of what's out there. So I'm starting to navigate what aesthetic treatments and what companies are out there and what I like. And it's like trying to navigate the first time you go to Disneyland and figure out what ride are you going to go on, because there's so much out there. But I did my research and I wanted to see these cutting edge laser treatments, and that's In Mode is a medical company that specializes in radio frequency and light energy laser treatments, and they have this treatment called Face Tight and Body Tight. And Face Tight, I just wanted to have a sleeker jawline.
Don't we all?
You know what? And I'm not ready for the facelift and cutting into, and I wanted any alternative to doing that with, I don't have downtime, so I needed something that was so minimal, and I literally was out walking and enjoying my life the next day. So it's little to no downtime. It's minimally invasive. There's no scars, and I needed that because I'm so busy.
Yeah.
And I really like the results because it's very, it's softer. My profile, my jawline's softer. I'm happy with the results, and I've never been happy with my triceps, and I wanted to try their Body Tight laser treatment on my arms, and I've got that little break, and I'm happy with that too. And they not only that, what's groundbreaking about In Mode is that they have different procedures and laser treatments to keep the maintenance up, which is great. That's zero pain, zero downtime. You leave the office and you go to work. So one of them is called, for the face, it's called Evoke, and then for anything on the body, it's called Evolve. And I just love the company, and I like the results so much, they asked me to be the ambassador. So I tested it out myself, and that's how I became the ambassador.
Was there any concern you had for the body stuff? Because obviously you use your body. You are a dancer, you have a Vegas show, you've been injured before, you've had a lot of injuries. So like, you don't want to mess with this.
No, I don't, but I always wanted a little bit more defining arms. I work out a lot. I'm pretty healthy and active, but there's certain areas that I felt like could use a little more sculpting.
I saw you perform at Pride last year.
Oh, you did?
I held my breath when you did the jump off the thing, and then you're like
flip-flopping.
I was like, you're gonna hurt yourself. Don't do it.
No,
Like seriously.
It's so much fun. I'm a daredevil. I'm not afraid of heights, and I'm I'm afraid of ants, but I'm not afraid of heights.
And cats, maybe.
I'm not afraid of cats.
Just afraid of
I'm afraid of my eyes swelling shut.
But there was one thing in that I didn't know about this. There was one thing in like the show where a whole thing about your plane crash, and there was like
We did a crash landing. It was during my Spellbound tour. Everyone was okay. I mean, my manager had a little gash. My hair and makeup guy cut his forehead, but when we plummeted, I hit my head on the ceiling of the plane. I was really injured. I mean, I had a spinal cord injury and nerve damage. I started losing all feeling on my right side, and I was starting to really live in excruciating pain. And so back then, neurosurgery, especially with neck, having spinal cord injury and having surgery, there was a 50-50 chance you get better. But I was willing to try because the quality of my life was starting to really suck. And it hurt. And I started getting surgeries. I had 15 cervical surgeries. You can see the scar here, all through the front.
Yeah, I can see.
It changed my life as far as the quality of my life really wasn't good. I was learning to, like my normal pain level from scale of 1 to 10, my normal was hovering at 7. You learn to live like that.
Just on a daily, regular basis?
Yeah, it was not fun. I wasn't able to do what I love, my heart place, which is dancing. That wasn't happening. I lost all feeling on my right side. I developed this thing called RSD, reflex sympathetic dystrophy. Easy for me to say, dystrophy. It's called RSD.
Okay.
What it is it's chronic regional pain syndrome, and it's where if you ever had sciatica or nerve pain, it fires so intensely that sometimes your skin can break out in lesions like shingles. I was learning to live with severe pain, and then this RSD it came along because of the trauma to my spinal cord, and I was doing anything and everything I could to stay in the game as far as don't give up, don't give up. It was difficult. It was really difficult, and luckily for me, after 15 failed attempts, seriously,
15?
15 surgeries. No, I was traveling around the world trying to be stem cell, candidate groups, and I was being rejected because they didn't feel they could help me. Finally, I found someone in Dusseldorf, and it made me feel significantly better, but it came back, and then I tried neuroscience, and that changed my life. I have not had to be on any zero pain medicine for almost 9 years now, and it's all through this intense biofeedback. So it's really hard to hear that because I felt like I could become an honorary neurosurgeon because I knew so much about what was happening in my body. But now here I was introduced to something that is only 30 plus years new. Obama started putting $1 billion into research, and what this is doing is it's helping post-traumatic stress syndrome for vets, Vietnam vets to NFL players and head injury and brain injury. Parkinson's it's helping. It's really incredible, and it's all through exercises that are like audio-spatial. I'd stare at a screen and look at red squares, yellow dots. I would see if the pain's easier or worse if I'm going ascending from the top of the screen, descending, ascending from bottom to the screen top, back and forth. And then you do ear irrigation and balancing exercises. It was crazy. And what they did is they rewired my neurotransmitters to block pain.
How come you only very recently started talking about this? Because when I saw the show in West Hollywood, and you had this kind of sequence where I think you actually talk a little bit about this stuff you just mentioned, my friend and I looked at each other like, what? Like, we're Paula Abdul fans. Like, how do we not know about this horrible accident?
There were articles, there were interviews, but it was also something that was, I didn't want to also talk too much about it because it took me a long time to build the career that I had, and I didn't want to be counted out or fearful of people not understanding. and thinking that, well, maybe she's really not doing well and she's in pain. I was always hopeful, and I think that that attitude shifted everything for me, because I refused to give in to the pain and to give up. I was a perfect pain management patient at Cedars-Sinai. I followed every rule, everything they asked me to do, and I wasn't getting significantly better. So the fact that I was able to find the gift of neuroscience, it changed my life. I've told everyone about it.
There are some people who actually wrote some kind of nasty articles about you that I don't believe. For the record, I don't believe.
It's, you know what? It's like there are 7 other people that were on the plane who were in that plane accident with me. So I really don't care what people have to say. I don't. You know what? It's like you learn, thank God, through wisdom and experience of being in this business, especially with the internet. You can't take things personally. And the things that resonate with you, that can help you become better, the best version of yourself, you hold on to and you work through that. And if there's something that you know you can actually work on that can improve who you are as a performer or as a professional or as a human being, I resonate with that. And the other stuff isn't my business.
I'm so glad you're doing better now, and that you're
Thank
talking about it, and that you're looking so good, and
Thank
doing
you.
this Vegas show. Any new? I know we have to go, but any new music possibly coming out?
Well, I'm going to be doing more of my residency starting in the summer, and hopefully by then introducing some new music.
Awesome. I'm excited. Well, thank you
you.
so much for talking with me. It's been a
Absolutely.
real honor.
Absolutely. Thank
Thanks.
you.